Welcome to the museum. Today we're heading into one of the most challenging and important chapters in American history, Reconstruction, the time period when the nation was brought back together right after the Civil War.
We'll be looking at two pieces of artwork to help us understand our big historical question. How successful was Reconstruction in addressing the challenges of rebuilding the nation and ensuring equal rights for African Americans?
Let's examine how artists use their work to reflect the struggles, hopes, and setbacks of the Reconstruction era. Let's start with this political cartoon. This is a political cartoon by Thomas Nast, published in 1874. Nast was known for using art to express strong political opinions, and this piece is full of symbolism. The title, "The Union as It Was," is bitterly ironic. Let's look closely. In the center, we see a black family cowering beneath a skull and crossbones. Above them hovers a Ku Klux Klan, or a KKK member in white robes, and a man labeled White League. These were two groups that used violence and intimidation to stop African Americans from exercising their right to vote. The words "worse than slavery, this is a white man's government and lost cause" complete the foreground, revealing Nast's opinion that the restrictions on and condition of Black Americans was dire. In the background, we see what appears to be destruction with a schoolhouse sign. Books spread on the floor, flames or smoke, and sadly a lynched or hung body. This visual in particular, combined with a cowering family, impresses upon the viewer the terror and fear inflicted upon Black citizens during this time. Through this symbolism in text, Nast is arguing that Reconstruction is failing, not because of laws, but because of violence and resistance in the South. Now compare that to this lithograph from just 2 years before, showing the first African American members of the U.S. Congress. Here we see 7 Black legislators, including Hiram Revels, the first African American senator, and Joseph Rainey, the first Black member of the House of Representatives. Each man is labeled, dressed formally, and presented with professionalism and dignity. This artwork shows the immense progress made by Black people politically in the early years of Reconstruction. These leaders were elected thanks to new laws like the 15th Amendment, which gave African American men the right to vote. This success came with challenges. Many white Southerners resisted Black political power, using new restrictive voting laws, intimidation, and violence, just like we saw in Nast's cartoon. The rights guaranteed to Black Americans that were enshrined in the Constitution by Congress were then overshadowed by a number of restrictions on voting, including poll taxes, grandfather clauses, and literacy tests. Together, these two images tell a fuller story of Reconstruction, both the achievements and the fierce opposition.
Now that we know more about the history and our sources, let's go back to our historical question: how successful was Reconstruction in addressing the challenges of rebuilding the nation and ensuring equal rights for African Americans? To answer that, we need to use our DBQ skills. I'm going to walk through 5 of them, just like I would in my own thinking. First, I ask myself, how can I group the sources? Well, I see that one image shows failure and violence, while the other shows progress and representation. That's 2 strong categories: resistance to Reconstruction, achievements of Reconstruction. Grouping this way helps me organize my evidence. Let's use the view method to analyze Nast's cartoon. Voice. The artist is Thomas Nast, a Northern political cartoonist who supported equal rights. Intent. He's criticizing Southern violence and warning Northern audiences that Reconstruction is collapsing. Environment. It's 1874. Many Northern politicians are losing interest in enforcing Reconstruction laws. Who? Nast wants the public and lawmakers to see what's happening in the South. View helps us understand why Nast made this cartoon so emotional and alarming. Next, I pull direct evidence from the sources. From Nast's cartoon, a Black family is hovered over by the Ku Klux Klan and the White League. There is a burning schoolhouse and a hanging body. That shows that African Americans faced extreme violence. From the Currier and Ives print, Hiram Revels and Joseph Rainey are shown with their names and roles in Congress. That proves some African Americans did gain political power. Let's add historical context. After the Civil War, the federal government passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which ended slavery and gave African Americans citizenship and voting rights. During Reconstruction, U.S. troops protected these rights in the South because of the failure of the states. But over time, federal support weakened, white supremacist groups grew stronger, and Southern states violated the rights of Black citizens. That context explains why we see both progress and backlash in these images. Now, let's write a thesis, a 1 or 2 sentence answer to the DBQ question. How about this? Reconstruction achieved some success in rebuilding the nation and securing African Americans' political rights, as shown by the election of Black leaders. But it also faced strong resistance, including violent attacks that limited the success of these efforts. That thesis includes both sides of the story, just like the sources.
Reconstruction wasn't perfect, and it faced a lot of resistance, but it was a time when Americans took bold steps toward justice.
And those steps mattered. African Americans organized, voted, ran for office, built schools, and pushed the nation to live up to its founding ideals.
When movements are grounded in principles like equality and justice, they have the power to spark real change, even when it's hard.